Hey guys, so this is the pattern we're doing today, just ladybugs, and yeah, it's really simple because it's a mirror pattern, so whatever you do on one side, you do the opposite on the other. And you're going to need 8 colors for your background, and 4 for red and 4 for black. And you're going to set them up as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, and then 2, 1. So starting from the left, I'm going to make 4 forward knots. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then now you do the opposite. So you're going to do 4 backward knots. Okay. Now starting from the right, because that's how I do my bracelets, you take your last string out, so you're not going to use your red. And you take your next 2, and you're going to do 2 backward forward knots. So that's 1, and 2. And then you take your next 2, and you're going to do 1 forward backward knot. And then your next 2, you do a forward knot. Now since it's the opposite, you're going to take your next 2, you're going to do a backward forward knot. And then your next 2 forward backward knots. Okay. Now starting from the left again, you take your first and second string, and you're going to do 3 backward knots. That's 1, 2, and 3. Your next 2, you're going to do a forward knot. And then the opposite. So now you're going to do a backward knot. And then for your last 3 knots, forward knots. Okay. Starting from the right again, you take your last one out, and then you take your next 2 strings, and you're going to do 4 knots for 2 knots. So this was 1, and then 1 more forward knot. And then you take your next 2 strings and you're going to do a backward knot. And then the middle one is going to be a forward knot. Now the opposite. You're going to do a forward knot. And then your last 2 knots are going to be backward knots. Okay. Take your first 2 on the left. You're going to do a forward or backward knot. Actually, it doesn't matter. So, backward knot. And then another backward knot. And then a forward knot. And then another forward knot. Now the opposite. So you're going to do a backward knot. A backward knot. And then 2 forward knots. Next row, starting from the right, leave your last one out. You're going to make a forward knot. And a backward forward knot. And then a backward knot. And then a forward knot. And then the opposite. So you're going to do a forward knot. A forward backward knot. And a backward knot. Next, you're going to do a backward knot. Wrong one. A backward forward knot. A backward knot. And then a forward backward knot. Now the opposite. You want to do a backward forward knot. a forward knot, a forward backward knot, and a backward knot. Next, leave your last one out, starting from the right. And you're going to do a backward knot, a backward forward knot, a forward backward knot, a forward knot, and then the opposite. So a backward forward knot, a forward backward knot, and then a backward knot. Actually, that's the same as the other last one. But oh. Now, a forward knot, a backward forward knot, a forward knot,